Every year, roughly 5 million elderly Americans are abused inside the very facilities built to protect them. Most cases are never reported. Most go completely undetected. The ones on this list only came to light for one single reason. Somebody, somewhere, had a camera running. Starting from number 10, here is what those cameras caught. Number 10, Glen Croft Assisted Living, Glendale, Arizona. A staff member at Glen Croft Assisted Living in Glendale, Arizona filmed an elderly patient in visible distress. Not to document a medical concern, not to flag something for a supervisor. The video was posted to Snapchat. The footage showed the staff member mocking the patient, laughing, no intervention, no call for help. Just a phone pointed at someone who had no way to stop it. The video circulated publicly before management became aware that it even existed. When it surfaced, an internal investigation was opened and licensing authorities were formally notified. The facility did not publicly disclose the full outcome of either process. The patient's identity was never confirmed in reporting. Number 9. Palm Gardens, Nursing Home, Winter Haven. A son placed a hidden camera in his 76-year-old father's room at Palm Gardens Nursing Home in Winter Haven, Florida. His father had Alzheimer's disease and could not reliably communicate what was happening to him during the hours his family wasn't there. The footage captured 2 certified nursing assistants assaulting the man while he lay in bed, kicking him, taunting him during care, forcing his body through movements. Other staff were reportedly present in the facility during the recorded incidents and did not intervene. Both CNAs were arrested. Investigators did not stop there. The case was expanded to identify potential additional victims beyond the single patient whose family had thought to install a camera. Number 8. Christopher Duchiani. Christopher Duchiani, 56, was privately hired to care for an 80-year-old Vietnam veteran with advanced dementia inside the man's home in Crawford Town. He was given sole unsupervised access to the patient regularly. The family had no reason to question that arrangement. A Ring camera recorded Duchiani shoving the veteran to the ground and screaming at him to stop touching things. The man was left on the floor for approximately 3 hours before being assisted. A separate clip reportedly showed a physical beating carried out with a broom. The veteran's daughter discovered the footage during a routine review of the home camera recordings. She contacted authorities immediately. Duchiani was charged with endangering the welfare of a vulnerable person and abuse of a physically and mentally disabled individual. He was released on an appearance ticket pending further court proceedings. Number 7. John Jenkins, Palm Coast. In February 2025, Flagler County deputies in Palm Coast, Florida, responded to a battery report at a private residence. The victim's mother had overheard home health nurse John Jenkins, 68, being verbally aggressive toward her son, a disabled young man unable to speak or walk. She confronted Jenkins. He apologized. She later reviewed home security footage and found him hitting and kicking her son with an iPad. The following day, she went back through the recordings and found 27 separate instances of abuse across the previous 7 days. Footage showed Jenkins punching the victim, sitting on him, throwing objects at him, and forcing his head into the ground. Jenkins was employed through Maxim Healthcare. He was arrested on February 21st on 4 felony counts of abuse of a disabled adult and released on a $40,000 bond. Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley described the case publicly as tragic and sickening. Number 6. Winterbourne View, Bristol. In May 2011, BBC Panorama broadcast undercover footage from inside Winterbourne View, a private hospital in Bristol run by care company Castlebeck, housing adults with learning disabilities and autism. A journalist had spent weeks working inside the facility with a concealed camera after a whistleblower, charge nurse Terry Bryan, had raised management concerns 10 months earlier and been ignored. The footage showed staff pinning patients against furniture, slapping them, pulling their hair, taunting them while they were restrained. The judge who later presided over sentencing described what had developed inside the facility as a culture of cruelty. He said cruelty had bred cruelty. 11 members of staff faced criminal proceedings. Between them, they admitted 38 charges of neglect or ill treatment. 6 were sentenced to prison. The ringleader, Wayne Rogers, received 2 years. The facility was permanently closed. The Care Quality Commission subsequently inspected all 150 learning disability services across England operated under similar arrangements. The families of the victims released a statement outside the court after sentencing. It read in part, "Without the BBC Panorama filming, we would not be standing here." Number 5. Roksana Lecka, South London. Roksana Lecka was a childcare worker at Riverside Nursery in South London. CCTV footage from inside the nursery, reviewed during trial proceedings, showed repeated incidents across multiple recorded sessions. Pinching children, physically restraining them, deliberate acts carried out against children with no capacity to understand what was being done or report it afterward. The children in her care were between 1 and 4 years old. The footage was presented as primary evidence during the trial. Lecka was arrested and charged. People magazine covered the trial proceedings in detail, including descriptions of what the CCTV had captured across the multiple incidents on record. Number 4. Barragill House Care Home, Fife. A daughter installed a hidden camera in her mother's room at Barragill House Care Home in Fife, Scotland. She had grown concerned about her mother's treatment and wanted documented evidence before raising a formal complaint. The daughter was a qualified nurse. She understood exactly what she was looking for. Her mother had dementia. The camera recorded verbal abuse and neglect across multiple incidents. The detail that drew the widest public attention was a staff member directing a comment at the patient, telling her to rest in peace while she was still alive and in their care. Following an investigation, the staff members involved were dismissed from their positions. The Scottish Sun reported on the case with reference to the footage and investigation findings. No criminal charges were publicly confirmed at the time of reporting. Number 3. Nerissa Betton, Fort Lauderdale. On May 11th, staff at the Savoy at Fort Lauderdale Rehabilitation Centre reviewed surveillance footage that showed nursing assistant Nerissa Betton physically abusing multiple elderly residents. In one incident, she struck and stabbed a 78-year-old man with a metal fork, causing serious bleeding. Betton initially gave a false explanation for the injuries, but the footage proved otherwise. She was later arrested and charged with elder abuse, aggravated battery and neglect, and was held without bond. Number 2. Ednice Dulcio, St. Francis Country House Facility, CCTV at St. Francis Country House Nursing Home in Darby Borough, Pennsylvania, recorded certified nursing assistant Ednice Dulcio striking a 92-year-old woman who was seated in a wheelchair. The woman had no means of removing herself from the situation. Multiple strikes were recorded on the facility's own installed surveillance system. A witness was present during the incident. Dulcio was arrested and charged with assault. CBS Philadelphia covered the case and broadcast footage directly from the facility's CCTV. This was not a hidden camera placed by a suspicious family. It was the facility's own standard surveillance equipment, the same system that was presumably running every day, that captured everything. Number 1. Dontia Arrington, Flint Township. The abuse likely began in late 2023 when the victim's family noticed unexplained bruises on the 93-year-old woman's body. Staff at the landings of Genesee Valley repeatedly offered excuses, but concerns led the family to install a hidden camera. On April 4th, 2024, footage captured caregiver Dontia Arrington striking the woman with a soiled diaper and grabbing her by the neck. The victim suffered serious injuries, including hip and spine fractures. After the video surfaced, Arrington was charged with multiple offences and later accepted a no-contest plea to reduced charges. The victim died later in 2024 from unrelated causes. Across 10 abuse cases in different countries, oversight systems failed to detect the mistreatment. In every case, it was camera footage, not management, co-workers or regulators, that exposed the abuse and led to accountability. The unanswered question remains, how many cases go unseen where no camera exists?